welcome to this three-part series where I am going to guide you through creating your own fueling strategy so you can run strong and get to the finish line of your goal race knowing that you have given your body everything that it needs to have the energy to get you to that finish line feeling physically strong. Now, I would love to chat all day long about sports nutrition and help you create your fueling strategy in depth. But today we're going to keep it really high level. In fact, over the whole series, we're going to keep it high level. So today we're going to chat for about 20 minutes, and this is going to focus on just general chat on sports nutrition. We're then going to talk a little bit about what to eat before your run, so pre-run. Video 2, segment 2, we're going to focus on what to eat during your run. And then segment 3, we're going to be talking about what to eat post-run. Now, sports nutrition can be quite, it can be seen as quite tricky, quite complicated. There's a lot of information out there online, and it can seem tricky because it's not one size fits all. Everybody is unique and everybody needs slight different things in order to run strong and feel good. So I'm going to strip away all of that noise and just give you the information that you will need in order to create that fueling strategy that once you've created it, that's going to work for you pretty much throughout your whole couch to marathon. You'll need to make tweaks for ultra marathon if you go down that route, but for the most part, if you are sticking to running 10Ks, half marathons, then what you create in your fueling strategy this week is going to set you up for long-term success. Okay, let me share my screen. So what we eat and what we don't eat, and what we drink and what we don't drink really affects our running performance and recovery. So we're going to cover how your body is so powerful and that it's telling you what it needs, and how to tap into understanding when your nutrition needs are off. So for those that don't know me, hello, my name is Gillian, or Coach G. I'm a certified running, sports nutrition and athlete mindset coach, and I'm the owner of GMacSpurr Coaching. I help runners of all levels go from where they're at today to achieving their running goals whilst having a boatload of fun. Like I mentioned earlier, I love talking about sports nutrition. I also love talking about running. So if you want to chat further, then book some time with me and we'll chat, because it's my favorite thing to talk about. So over this three-part series, we're going to learn how to listen to the signs your body is giving you. We're going to determine what fuel will give you energy to run strong and get the results that you want. And we're going to create a fueling strategy that works for you. Before we get started, I wanted to start here with what I call my triangle of goodness. Runners know running. It's one foot in front of the other. Now, I know I'm simplifying it, but you get the gist. But less is known about or talked about is sports nutrition and athlete mindset. And running, nutrition, and mindset are like what I focus on with my clients. These are so important. All three need to be taken into consideration when working towards any running goal. If one is forgotten about or neglected, then that triangle can be wonky or even collapse. You can see that at the bottom I've got sports nutrition and athlete mindset, because they are crucial, in my opinion, for having that really strong base in order for the running to sit on top of. So if you don't have a fueling strategy, that run is going to be possibly awful. If you don't have tools to help support your mindset, then that run could be awful. So really, we want to be focusing on having all three strong in order to achieve our goals whilst having fun. And one of the biggest challenges that I do come across as a coach is runners knowing what to eat and when to eat. Like I mentioned earlier, it is simple, but because it's not a one size fits all and there's so much misinformation out there around what you should and shouldn't eat, it can be quite tricky doing it alone. But hopefully this series will help you know exactly what you need to do. So let me ask you this. Have you experienced any of these? Have you ever had heavy legs on your runs? Have you ever had that, sloshing in your stomach? What about urgently needing the washroom, whether that's for number 1 and number 2 or for being sick, feeling weak, fatigued, tired, dizzy, headachy? These are not something that we need to put up with as runners. Every single one of these, it likely can be traced back to fueling, so nutrition. We want to make sure that we have as few of these as possible by ensuring that our fueling strategy is spot on. But before we get started, I want to start here because you are unique. The key to knowing what is right for you when it comes to fueling is listening to your body. You, my friend, are the only person that can listen to what your body is telling you. Even if I was your coach, I still wouldn't be able to listen to what your body is telling you. I can potentially hear some of the things that you're telling me. Well, I can't hear the things you're telling me, but I can potentially get to the root of something that you're saying possibly being off with your fueling strategy. But you're the only one that can really feel what is going on. And your body is this incredible machine. It is telling you what it needs. You just need to tap into that and figure out what it's telling you. Now, as this is a recording, I won't be able to go into specifics in terms of how many grams you need of each macronutrient, as everyone is different. And if you don't know the term macronutrient, it stands for, or it means carbohydrates, protein, and fat, which we will get into. You are unique, which is why I regularly say not to listen to strangers on the internet when it comes to sports nutrition, because I can't, and well, yeah, technically I am a stranger on the internet, but I'm not going to tell you what to eat. So yeah, you really need to figure out what works for you. And like I've mentioned previously, if you've got any questions, feel free to reply to this email and let me know what your questions are. I am more than happy to answer them. If the questions are high level and I can give a high level response back, I will. I'll send an email back within like 4 to 8 business hours. But if it's a bit more specific or not a high level question, it's more specific to you or something that you're doing, then I'll send you my calendar link and we can jump on a call and chat one-on-one and get you the answers that you need to ensure that you are able to run strong. So send me an email, happy to help. So let's start with some high level basics here. We need carbs, we need protein, and we need fat to survive. Do not limit these macronutrients because that's not what our body wants and needs every single day. And every single food that we eat, or pretty much every single food that we eat, will have a percentage of carbs, protein, and fat. They'll just all come in different levels. So some might be classed as high or low. For example, a food that is classed as low fat will still contain carbs and protein and some fat. Items that are high in protein will contain protein, but it'll also have some carbs and it'll have some fat as well. But also be careful when looking at labels when items are classed as high or low. I regularly see, for example, sports products like granola bars or powders or things like that classed as high protein. And yes, there's maybe a lot of protein in them, but they're also really high in carbs and fat as well. So if you are looking to go one level deeper, I would highly recommend reviewing the backs of foods, or the backs of the labels on foods, just to really get an idea of what is included in that item. So carbs are an important fuel for exercise, for movement, for running. The more active you are and the greater muscle mass that you have, the higher your carbohydrate needs are. Carbs are not only things like rice, bread, pasta, potatoes, which are widely known, but things like banana and quinoa. Like there's a lot of foods that are high in carbs that don't necessarily fit in that bracket that's well known. That's I hear it all the time, people saying that they are on a low carb diet, and they typically mean they're not having the breads, the pastas, the cakes, the cereals, those kind of things. And beige foods have a bit of a bad rap, but other than the bread and the pasta on the list that I just rattled off, they're the only two processed foods and come in various levels of process, from minimal if you were to make the bread at home or get it from a local baker, to highly processed if you're getting the kind of mass produced white bread. The rest of the foods that I mentioned there are whole foods. So yes, they're beige, but not all beige foods are bad. And I'm not even saying that the bread and pasta are bad, but just there are various levels of processed foods. And I would always, as much as possible, where means are available, go down the minimally processed whole foods if you can. So protein, amino acids from protein form the building blocks for new tissues and the repair of body cells. Now, athletes do have a higher protein requirement than non-active people, as the extra protein is required to compensate for increased muscle breakdown that occurs not only during but after intense exercise, but it also helps build new muscle cells. Now, I do mention that athletes have a higher protein requirement, but there are other groups of people that also require more protein. So, for example, if you're in perimenopause or menopause, then more protein is possibly recommended for you too. So, again, it's listening to your body and working out what works best for you. Now, the picture here shows animal products. We've got what looks like milk, fish, steak, and an egg. But if you're vegetarian or plant-based, there are oodles of options for you. You do not have to eat animal products or consume animal products to get enough protein. There are plenty of foods on the market that are good for you, that are high in protein. And finally, fat. Some fat in our diet every single day is essential, as it makes up the structure of all cell membranes, your brain tissue, nerve sheaths, and bone marrow. And it not only that, but it cushions your organs as well. So fat is not the baddie that is made out to be. We need fat in our diet. And some examples of that, as per the picture here, we've got avocado, we've got oils, and I think that's maybe nuts at the bottom of the screen there, but also certain meat as well has protein in it. So in terms of energy, carbs are used for short-term energy, fat for long-term, and protein can be used as for energy in emergency situations. So for example, when carbs are in short supply, if someone is on a low carb diet, or when the protein has reached the end of its useful life. So us runners, carbs are our main energy source. They are what we're going to need. You're going to become friends with carbs, as you're going to need them not only pre-run, during run, but also post-run. A bit of a sneak peek in what we're going to be chatting about during the three-part series here. So before you've laced up and you're about to head out the door, we want to ensure our body has what it needs in order to perform well on the run. Remember back to the earlier slide where we had all of the possible signs that our body is giving us. Let me just get back. All of these, if we ensure that we are eating, and we'll just talk specifics in a moment, but having things to eat before you run, having things to drink before you run, will eliminate a lot of these things. I'll take a sip of water whilst I'm getting there. And timely, because we're now going to talk about water. So when it comes to hydration pre-run, water is absolutely fine. You can certainly have an electrolyte if you are, if it's a hot day, or if you're a sweaty runner, or if you know that you've not been drinking that much water prior to your run, then having an electrolyte is a good option. Whether it's water or electrolyte, do not chug it. And this is just going to be a blanket, never chug water. Always take sips, whether that's for your run or in life. Because when you start chugging water, that's when you urgently need to go to the washroom. And when it comes to your running, if you've chugged water beforehand, it's just going to sit in your stomach and slosh around and make you feel gross. The third thing is overhydrating can dilute your blood so that your sodium levels drop. Now, it can be fatal, so it is very rare, but just something to be aware of. Don't chug your water. And certainly when it comes to pre-run, take sips. Small sips up until the point of you going out for your run is absolutely perfect. I would say like maybe like this size of glass, like half a glass maximum before you go out for your run. So maybe like, I don't know, 200, 250 mils. But again, don't just neck it because you've not quite reached that amount. We just want to be having enough to eliminate fatigue and headaches on your run. We just want to make sure you're well hydrated. Now, carbs. This can be in liquid or solid form, and we'll talk about both of those in a second. If you are running first thing in the morning or in between meals, then a light snack is perfect around about 30, 60 minutes before your run. If you're running after a meal, certainly if it's a big meal, then give it a good 90 minutes to even 2 hours before you go out for your run. Why these time frames, you might be asking? Well, we don't want that food sitting heavy in our stomach, giving us stomach issues, a side stitch, that sloshing in our stomach, making us feel sick. But then also we don't want to wait too long after going for a run after eating, because that'll maybe then we might start feeling weak or lacking in energy. We really want to be ensuring that we consume something and then give it plenty of time to be converted into energy and then go use it, not eat a snack, procrastinate for 2 hours and then go out for a run, because you're then going to probably experience some of what we saw on the earlier slide. Sorry, excuse me, I see another sip. All this talking. So highly recommend that on your shorter runs, experiment with different foods. I recommend keeping a nutrition journal to log what you ate, when you ate it, how your body felt during the run, and how you performed. This data is invaluable because it will help you pinpoint what foods are optimal for you. I'm going to keep harping on about it. We're all unique. So what one food might work for you might not work for me, but a variation will work for someone else. So you need to find out what works for you. So it could well be that maybe on day one, you try a banana and the banana tastes good and your energy is fine. Maybe you're a little bit tired and just not amazing. So the next day, maybe you try a banana with a slice of toast, and then you feel much more energetic. You feel less achy, you're feeling strong. And then third day, maybe you try toast with jam. See how that goes. Compare that to how you felt on the day that you had the banana, and compare that to how you felt on the day you had the banana and the toast. And it's a process of elimination, working out what foods really are perfect for you to have the energy that you need for your run. Now, my recommendation is to have at least 2 or 3 pre-run fueling options. Why 2 or 3? And you can certainly have more if you want. But in fact, let me tell you about me. So I have got a smoothie, a granola bar, and toast with jam. The smoothie, I would typically have that before a run if it's during the summer, because then it's also helping to hydrate me. Or if I'm going for my run after my breakfast, then I'll have the smoothie as my breakfast. Granola bar is what I will eat before a run if I am not at home able to prepare my smoothie or able to have my toast. So if I'm away for a conference or a vacation, or I'm out doing a race somewhere that I'm not at home, then I will pack the exact granola bar that I use at home and take that with me to the location. Having a processed food, something that I can buy from the shop and take with me, means I don't then need to worry about if the location that I'm at has a blender or a toaster or going to go and buy the ingredients. I can just take it with me and go. And the third one is toast with jam. And I will typically use this on my longer runs. So any runs that are longer than about 10K, I find that I need something just a little bit more substantial in my stomach, and helps just with my overall fueling during my run, which we will get to on the second segment. So yeah, I have these three options, and I like being able to mix and match. Like maybe I'm at home, but I don't have any bread in, and I can't be bothered making a smoothie, then I'll be able to grab the granola bar. It just gives me that variety, but I know each of those items fuels me well. So some additional examples could be you can maybe have a bagel with jam, a banana and peanut butter, or banana by itself, a yogurt with fruit, a handful of trail mix, a sandwich or wrap, dried fruit, cereal with milk. Like, the options are literally endless. We really are just focusing as much as possible on having a carb heavy snack or meal. And fueling right before your run is really giving your body everything that it needs to perform well. And this is really all that you're going to need on your shorter runs. So anything less than about an hour or 13K, what you eat before your run should be chef's kiss. Everything feels good, and you've eliminated all of those challenges that we talked about earlier. And that is it, my friend. We have talked about what we were going to possibly look at eating before our run to set us up for success. But before I leave you today, I want to remind you that to fuel and hydrate with what works for you. As I've mentioned previously, there's a lot of garbage information online, but you are gonna, like, you're now armed with the tools to figure out how to experiment and find foods that really work for you. And as I mentioned, I'm more than happy to help. If you have got any questions related to what we talked about today or any of the other segments, then send me an email. I'm more than happy to help support you in getting that answer and helping you run strong and have a fueling strategy. Okay, I will see you for segment 2, where we are going to be chatting about during your run fueling. And I just gave you a little sneak peek a moment ago. I don't know if you noticed, but I said that you will need to eat during your run if you're running for longer than an hour or longer than 13K. Okay, see you later. Bye.